It's not working, there's nobody on any way,
Is
so
that Zoom? We're supposed to be Zoom?
this is Zoom, and it's so that our recording secretary can actually make the minutes. So usually we have somebody here, but I'm like, you don't need to come, it's like, we've got this fancy out. All right, anyway, so please be advised that this meeting is being recorded and will be broadcast to the public access channel and eventually on YouTube. There is nobody on Zoom, so there's no instructions for the Zoom. All right, first up, do we have any board or public comments? You have one?
No.
Anybody? Nobody? Okay. I'm gonna do this in my order. So it's gonna be super quick though. So Chris Ruth is not with us tonight. He did want to let us know that the Wallace Park, playground equipment that was damaged with the vehicle that went into it over the summer, that equipment is on its way. We did have another report, unfortunately, of a handle being torn off the twirly thing again. As Chris was making arrangements to have that repaired, another one was damaged. So he spoke with Cindy Mack, who is the woman who does the playground over there. She recommended something, so Chris asked me to mention it tonight. There is a noise deterrent out there called the mosquito anti-loitering alarm. And I guess it's used in other communities. The way it works, it would sit on the roof of the snack shack. When the park is closed, that park's closed from dusk to dawn. It would have, I believe we would be using a motion sensor that would trigger it. It's a high pitch frequency that only
Mosquitoes can hear.
the younger generation can hear.
The younger, no, really?
Yeah, yeah, so like, none of us could hear it, but our 25 and under somethings can hear it. It doesn't damage hearing, but it's annoying enough that it supposedly moves kids along. I don't know how I feel about it. The range is approximately 100 feet and the directional output, I guess, can be adjusted. It does not travel through solid material, so it wouldn't like travel into somebody's house because it's a residential neighborhood. So if it's all right with everyone, I will send over a link to your email so that you can look up and see what this mosquito anti-loitering device is, if you want to provide some feedback to Chris. We
How much is
definitely.
it?
$700 maybe,
Yeah.
it's not ridiculous, something needs to be done there, and I'm just not sure what it is. I was over there on half day a few weeks ago with some kids, and there was a fairly large group of kids that, were just hanging around the parking lot, but there was a lot of strange interactions going on. So I actually called over to the police department and just said, if someone's in the area, can they drive by? I'm not really sure what's going on, and I don't want to stick around to find out. So there's definitely people over there, and we do think that this damage is happening after dark.
You don't have cameras on this, dude.
We do not have cameras over there.
Would it make sense to do that first?
That's one of the things that we have thought about as well.
That is way less expensive.
So the thought, I think Chris's thought was on it though, is that when you put the camera up, we're going back in footage to try to find, we're catching them after the fact. And then we have to go back and we have to figure out how to identify them and all that. Whereas this, they just wouldn't want to be in the park. They would just not want to hang out there at night.
But then you have old people hanging out though.
We could have, if you want to meet at the park, we could meet at the park.
So you think this is vandalism though? I mean, it's not
It
like
is.
just breaking.
No, it's
I
vandalism.
remember these things when we were kids. Those things were impossible.
No, this one's definitely vandalism,
They don't make things
unfortunately.
the way they used to.
Yeah, interesting.
So, yeah, so that's Chris's update on that. He did call me the other day saying that he's working on putting stuff together for, the not McNally, Fitzgerald Fields, for a master plan, not that, good grief, capital plan, to send that over to, finance committee, and so they can start going through that stuff. He's hoping that it meets the threshold. They sort of gave me some ideas of other things that could be added if it didn't meet the threshold. But he's pretty confident that it will. But he did add, he's not sure what will get funded for capital this year, because he's not sure how much money is going to be allotted to capital this year. So.
So what's the plan to actually fix Purpose Brook?
At Wallace Park, the it's a bar that comes down, comes across and down, weld it, have somebody at the DPW weld it. That was the plan on the first one, I'm not sure. I thought Chris said somebody stole the handle, but I didn't ask for a picture, so I'm not 100% sure.
So the damage is in addition to one that was shared on Facebook, that another one be on that.
Now, once you do the first one, we'll see the second and third one.
So this would be the third, this is the third incident of damage that we've had down, one of them being significant. Since I think August, so, yeah,
We just put a sign up that says there's cameras,
we could. I don't, we could do that.
and some sort of warning about, criminal offense.
I have some, signage that I, printed, I just haven't laminated yet. Cause it's easier just to do it quickly myself than it is to try to get Chris to order stuff up right now. Of, saying that the park is closed from dusk to dawn. So that at least if the police stop, they could point to the side and say the park is closed and they're not
Right.
feeling like they're, having to refer them back to our website, so.
That would be good.
Yeah, all right, now skate park, you are on, Anthony. So.
Go.
Well,
I'm on.
you are on, so we have, the skate park contract that. I
The right
put
of
into the
entry
file
agreement,
today,
correct.
the right of entry agreement, that expired, so we are, in order to move forward. With anything that contract needs to be re-executed. But there's one section of it that Anthony has gone back and forth with town manager on around the bond. And,
I don't know if we've gone back and forth per se.
well,
She just said she needed to
yeah,
fix
she
that.
gave you some, and she gave some feedback on it, so, can you explain to Chris and Anita?
Mhm.
Where you are right now? Give us an idea of where you are and then that piece of the.
Where I am, we are in terms of the project.
Well, just in terms of when you need a contract, when you're looking to have a new contract executed, that sort of, like, where are you?
So none of this made its way to you, okay. So I was hoping tonight we could actually hammer this out and get it done. Like, I was hoping this would be a working session, so we could actually get this done, we're ready to sign a contract.
Okay.
Okay, we're looking to break ground in January, I wanna get a date on the board with the builder and get him locked and loaded. That's where we are logistically,
Okay,
we're
How long will the construction take?
still 90 days. I we'll take out the trees while the ground's frozen, right, just so we don't destroy the place. Ideally, we'll do that, late January, beginning of February, and then we'll start, as soon as the ground thaws in March, mid-March. And then we should be done
Done, you.
July, beginning of July. That's a plan.
okay. Hit us with your bonds.
So the bond situation, so the original contract stipulated that we would need to get a bond. Didn't specify an amount, and we looked at, the cost of our project, and the cost of the project on paper is $220,000 or so for the builder. Another $160,000 or so for all the stuff that's being donated. It's about $400K in total. I know those donors donated for it, it's 400-ish, let's say. We've raised right now 375-ish, so we're in the home stretch. We're in the home stretch, and we've got so much happening that stuff's happening. And everyone is like, oh, you're almost there, I'd like to be the capstone grant. I'm like, where were you guys 5 years ago, right? So anyway, so when I met with Jen, she went off and did some analysis. And she came back and said, in order for us, the town, to finish the project, and this is, assuming, of course, worst case scenario. That it would cost them about $1.5 million to build this park. We don't particularly agree with those numbers, but the long and the short of it is, we can't get a bond for really more than like $300K. Right, because the bonding agent will only bond, people that are licensed, insured, et cetera, and that covers the skate park builder. All the stuff that's being donated, us as the actual committee that's running this project, we'd have to actually sign up personally to guarantee those things, so then they have to financially vet all of us as a group. And the rest of the group is like, no. So, anyway, long story short, I proposed the concept, and I actually done a bunch of research since, I've talked to a bunch of bonding agents, and if you look online, this isn't like a foreign concept, but to get a good. Yeah, I hear you. A restorative bond, so rather than a completion bond, that would take this from wherever we leave it to done. If we don't finish it, God forbid. You can go in, using those dollars, restore the site to the way it is now. No harm, no foul, and Marshall Park looks as it is. The difference in cost to us, if let's say it was even financially possible to go get this bond for $1.5 million, it costs us about 50K. To do a restorative bond, we're talking about 3K. Huge delta. Huge delta. And it's 50K that we don't have, we didn't budget for this. We were more thinking it would be like 69K for what we needed to get bonded. So we shot high. I reached out to a handful of folks that are in the public and private space and said, look, if we were 99% done with this park you guys obviously see what it looks like. What would it cost to rip this out, restore the site? And I got quotes anywhere from 20 to 50K. I said, okay, let's call it 100K, right? So we have people literally planting blades of grass by hand, right? Making Marshall Park look as picture perfect as possible. And let's put that in place, stipulate that in the contract, sign it, and let's go.
So the pricing that you got
Yes.
for a restorative bond,
Mhm.
that would be anticipating you guys coming in to bring it back?
No, this would be
So,
you hiring a private contractor.
so does it, I guess my concern in looking at the numbers is, whether or not that is prevailing wage.
Again, that 50K, we're shooting high in prevailing wage. So I said, let's just double it, play it safe. We can go all the way up to 220, but there's no need to go to 220. It's not gonna cost $220,000 to pull out a sidewalk and replace it with dirt.
I mean, the concept of the restorative bond versus the original is something I would give consideration to, but I'd want feedback from Chris Ruth on what the value of it should be. I know you did your due diligence,
Absolutely, yeah.
it's great,
Don't track my numbers. Yeah,
but I mean, he's the person we have to rely on,
totally understand.
so.
My concerns. And I think I've mentioned to you in the past. And I'm gonna use the turf field as an example.
Mhm.
Turf field was a private project. Going in by a very well-intentioned group. They got, I don't remember what percentage of the way done. They had no money.
Mhm,
There was no bond,
mhm,
restorative or otherwise.
mhm,
It went in front of town meeting
mhm.
and the town funded the rest of it.
I remember.
I am greatly concerned. If we. My God, you finished 85% of it, 90% of it. How do we, as members of this community and residents, look at it and say, well, we're just gonna take it all down now, they ran out of money, we're at this percentage. But how do we, as a committee and residents, go to a town meeting knowing everything that's gone on in the past and say, we need your help to
Okay,
finish
so
funding?
let me put this, just let me kill that, okay? So the actual park construction, the people that are gonna come in and put blood, sweat and tears into building this is gonna cost us $208,000 or $210,000. We have that money, like, it's no problem, okay? So you at least have a park. We have people that are doing all the excavation at no cost. We have people that are doing the site restoration, not the restoration, but the actual
Mhm.
beautification around it to make it blend in, no cost. Right? Worst case scenario. I'll grab a shovel and the T-ball kids and we'll go through.
Oh, gosh.
Right? Really, if I was in any way in shape concerned about that, not being able to finish this.
Turf folks weren't concerned about it either, though, that's my, and
Oh,
this
no, no,
isn't
but
me trying to be a.
you have the
Debbie
money
Downer.
there. The money.
Well, they thought they had the money
We have
too.
the money in the bank.
What is your thought on this?
I'm in the likelihood of what Anita's talking about, just in terms of, like, I get the restorative bond from a cost standpoint, I think it makes sense. I think the effort of this project has been there for longer than I think anyone anticipated.
Oh, God, yes.
Probably by a few years.
Yeah.
But the work has been consistent, there's been no wavering on it. And that's despite kids off to college and beyond and whatnot, and I think that, I think there's a drive to see this through, and a level of trust in the people that are driving the project. We know the people that are driving the project, level of trust in those people, that it will be seen through. And yes, there's risk there with that, but if there's a bond of some semblance in place, and I get what you're saying, but I think worst case scenario, yes, we get to 85% or 90% or whatever, and then we need to go to town meeting to ask for 10%. And I don't have any indication or any reason to believe that would be the case, but then the town decides, right? Like there is money in place to return it to its original status. And if that's the solution, then that's the solution.
If this is gonna fail,
That's
it's
it.
gonna fail way before 85%.
And that's what we do.
Yeah.
I hope so. Have you ever
so-
met my luck? Cause it's not good.
So I wanted to have nothing with this project.
So I have a question for you.
Yeah.
So right now, originally you had meant the number you threw by me was 50. Now you're thinking.
50 for what?
For a restorative bond,
No,
you're
that-
thinking 100?
Oh, you said $50,000 in the amount it would cost to restore the site.
Yeah.
Okay, so there was the completion bond that would have cost 50,000, that's what I thought you were referring to.
No,
But you're saying the restorative bond,
of,
the numbers I got range from $20,000 to $50,000.
Yeah.
Swags, size, blah, blah, blah,
Yeah.
describe, right? What do you think it would cost to bring this back to just basically flat, alright? Plant some grass seed. 50K in demolition, disposal, and trucking, carting, topsoil, et cetera.
but, so are you going to be asking your bonding people, however it works, for a bond for 50,000 or a bond for 100,000?
I'm deferring to you to come up with a number. You said you're gonna talk to Chris, come up with a number that you think is reasonable. I don't care whether it's 25, 50, 75, or 100. The difference to us is nominal. Do something that you guys are.
It's in the case you're saying there's no reason not to, there might not be a reason not to just double it to 100.
You have to be play safe.
So I guess,
So based on what Chris would give us for feedback and what his estimations would be. If he comes back and says, I would do the 100 to be safe. That's where they're,
What if he says more than that?
I'd be really, really surprised. I'd call his bluff. That's how we came up with it.
so my question is if
It's like 3 days worth of work.
if we,
Does it include returning the playground?
we could return the playground.
Yeah.
I hope he doesn't return the
We
playground.
don't have that playground there. That's a liability.
Did pass us already a playground?
No,
It's in the book. We're gonna move it to the book.
Oh
I did.
But could that, I'm wondering if the way, and Anita may know more, cause she has more experience with this stuff than I do, but. If it was, if the group decided to move forward with a restorative bond in 100K.
Mhm.
But you ran out of money and you needed 100K, could we somehow write that contract, so instead of restoring it, they would use that money? Or we would use that money to finish the project versus
No,
restoring?
the bond is gonna be very specific.
Okay.
It'd be, so it's,
Yeah, if you look at the bond products, they're very intentionally. Well, I was even say there's a bunch of different kinds, but I know there's restorative. And there's
and
completion,
the intent is to put it.
and it gets written as a
So
restorative.
right, to put it back. where it was.
Because when they actually write the contract, they write it. Like, for example, if we were doing a completion bond, we'd have to provide to them the contract with the builder. And then contracts with all the other people, right? And they would take all that and run that through their lender or the insurers and weigh that.
Yeah, I wasn't sure how
Yeah.
bonds or something.
Yeah, yeah.
To me. So,
And then, hang on one quick sec. So just because I was, not that I was surprised how this worked, but when, let's say that were to happen. And let's say, you know, we executed that restorative bond or called it, and then they were to give you the 100K and we were to finish it. They would then go after whoever that bond was written against to collect that 100K plus fees.
Well, if you finished it,
No. So let's say the builder, because the builder is gonna have to get restorative bond. He's actually gonna buy it, because he's the one that has to get financially vetted, right? To make sure that it's which it makes no sense. It's, if you really think about it, because he's saying like, if I don't finish my job that I'm signing up to do, then you'll give them this money, but it's less than the value of the contract anyway. So they would then go after him for that $100,000. Because they had to execute that to go rip out the park that he just didn't finish building. Or if I were to say, or our team were to say, we'll guarantee that restorative bond, we'd be signing up for it. If that gets executed, then they're coming after us. So no, we don't.
so how do you, either of you have any recommendations on how you wanna proceed with this? Do you?
I mean, I know you're under a tight turnaround, or you'd like to get it turned around quickly, but, I think the only way we could do anything tonight is to make it conditional to you're having a conversation with Chris Ruth and him agreeing that the $100,000 is adequate. And if he has any concerns about that, that means that that conditional approval did not go through. Then we'd have to schedule another meeting.
I feel, I don't know how comfortable I am. I don't mind doing that if that's.
We don't
what
even have to
Chris
do that.
decides.
You can go off and talk to Chris and then we can convene.
Can I, okay. So I don't mind doing that. I'm thinking, let me go back to Chris tomorrow then and see, I'll use the 100K number.
Okay.
If he comes back with something higher, I think for time's sake, maybe we can arrange for a sit down with you, Chris or Anita and myself.
We'll bring Gregory too.
That's fine.
Okay.
Whoever on your side, and see if we can discuss it beforehand. I don't know what his response is
That's
gonna
fine,
be.
yeah. We'll find out.
So,
That's
okay,
more than reasonable.
okay, we can do that.
Is there? I mean, I know you're looking to get sort of boots on the ground kind of deal, so what's the time, what? Is there a drop dead time that you need that? Answer by, we need to adjust the agreement by and so forth, like when does that need to be done by? For you?
Ideally, we have this agreement in place by the end of the month.
There's no, so we don't meet again by the end of the month.
We have to have a meeting to get this in place.
We would have to vote,
We'd have to vote on it. That's,
that's why I'm asking the question. So, I'm like, if it's a 10-minute meeting or a 5-minute meeting to vote, like if we get the answer from Chris and we,
Yeah.
like, I mean, I think.
I'm fine with this.
I'm thinking we're kind of on the same page. I think if we're comfortable with what Chris says. It's not a lengthy meeting. We can do a Zoom. We're allowed to do a
And
Zoom.
I-
We could have a quick kind of
Okay.
10-minute conversation.
and I
make a
think
vote.
I could come with the contract that you're gonna want and the contract that you're not gonna want, so that we could sign off on something, even if it's a contract that you don't want, at least it's,
What's the contract that I don't want?
well, if, say the other two members are here and don't agree with that, now
Oh.
we're, you know what I mean? So, but at least there'll be, at least something will be ready to go. I can ask, Julie Bellevaux for that. Is there is nothing else? There
The
was
date and the bond, that's it,
the dates in the bond.
Yep.
Okay,
the expiration date.
The
okay.
entry date is.
I think last time we had we gave it a 6-month window.
This was we gave my year window.
1 year.
A year. okay.
Yeah, cause it was executed in July of 2024 and I think it expired in June.
July 25.
July 25, so, yeah, something in there, yeah, 12 months.
So what would we want for a date? Going, like, for you guys, what would you want for it? Is it a year?
I'd say, I'd do it 1 year from like now. So like October of next year,
So whenever we sign it through, whenever.
which will cover us well.
Yeah, I just want to give you contingency. I know you're saying July.
You imagine it was July, you guys walk in, oh my.
I know you're saying July, July 1, but
Yeah.
I give that cushion on that. I almost say August 1st.
Because
Yeah.
that section of the, that section on that, a restorative bond is gonna need to be rewritten, and that's so far outside
That's fine.
my ability.
Services completion, do a search and replace, right, restore.
I could, I did, but that's where that section is gonna be, where that section would be
No, I was
changed.
kidding.
I know, it's, you know, it's gotta go through town council then too, so it's gonna be a matter,
2 days.
it's gonna be a matter of, just making sure that all the dots get connected.
Right.
So, all right, I'll go back to Chris, see what he says.
Thank you.
Once he gives me an answer, then I will go back to you. And then if he agrees with this, based on what Anita.
If he says it's less, that's fine too.
Right, based on what Anita and Chris are saying, what I'm getting from Anita and Chris's feelings right now. I'll go ahead and set up a meeting, a quick meeting
Okay.
to, you know,
Thank
just via Zoom so we can get this
Okay.
executed, and I'll ask Julie to,
Do we
have
just
a-
do anything with the board of selectmen?
So I don't think so, so. I did invite.
Chris? Call your mom.
Oh, great.
There's ramifications here, like, I know we all wanna, I wanna be 100% confident that this is gonna go through. I'm 99% confident. That 1% leaves me with enough that I, you know, felt like finance committee understanding what we're doing was worthy of having them in on the discussion, so they could never say, you
I
didn't
did that.
tell us
Yeah.
that's what we're doing.
Right.
I did invite, the chair of, the select board. He must not have been available, but the way it works is that we will, when this is completed, so the contract is what is with us and us only. When it's completed, we vote to accept the gift, and then it's gotta go to the select board to do the final sign off on it. So I don't think that there's anything you need to go to the select board right now, because the contract itself doesn't actually involve the select
I
board.
totally agree with you,
But
but I don't know everything.
I
I'm
know,
asking.
but I don't wanna be, I also don't wanna. I don't want anybody to ever think we're operating in a bubble either on this. Let's see if we can get this figured out. And if we can get this figured out, and I can even hit up a select board meeting in public, in board comment. And be like, this is what we're about to do. Does anybody have any concerns before we do it, type thing?
And I think I told you I already talked to Caesar about this.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
and he was, yeah, that's cool.
So, okay,
Works fine.
all right.
What would happen, I mean, on that note, like what? They finish it, we vote to accept it, we go to the select board and they say no,
I don't know.
what? I mean, just,
It's-
I mean,
it's-
like,
it's a
just thinking in a
process.
weird sort of,
It's a weird
I
process.
mean, I think the select board has had you know,
And
they've
the
been
only-
aware of this for a long time, I think now you guys have been, the kids have been in front of the select board a bunch
The
of
only
times.
similar thing I've ever run into before is where a roadway. And so when you build a roadway, the construction bond has to be in place. And, you know, roadway gets finished. And then the owner of the project comes to the Board of Selectmen and says, I want the town meeting to accept this roadway so that it becomes a public street rather than a private street. And the only time I've ever seen it be refused is if it's just really poorly built.
Okay.
And, you know, it wasn't properly, you know, overseen during the construction process. So, and I know that, we didn't put in requirements to have our own like clerk of the works oversee this work, but Chris said he would keep an eye on it. And, we did put in language in that original agreement about, you know, testing of concrete, et cetera,
Mhm.
like things like that. So I don't think that we're gonna find ourselves in that kind of situation, but that's the only time I've
Okay.
ever seen.
Yeah, just
something
thinking like
similar.
the back of my mind, like, you're 1%, like
Yeah.
that's that 1%, I guess, kind of deal where you're like.
And I don't know what would
Then we have a
happen.
park and it just sits there.
I don't know
Like,
what would
who-
happen. It's,
Who owns it or who does?
I actually, if my brain's working properly, I think that, I recalled Jen Warren being surprised when I said to her that select board has to approve it. And we were at a meeting with Adam Costa, and I had made that comment. I don't believe she thought that I was correct in that. And I'm like, oh no, I'm positive I'm correct in that. And she pulled it up and she was like, oh yeah. So I don't know how common that is. like in municipalities, I think it's just probably one of those things that. Because how can you, it's not property that comes under the care and control of the select board, they have absolutely no say of it, so the fact that they have to ultimately accept the gift. Seems a little, seems a little crazy.
But yeah, they've been aware of the project for a long time as well, and they've always seemed to be supportive, so I don't think it's a, you know,
Yeah, okay,
not a concern of mine really, but just when you hear you say it out loud, you're like, oh, what does happen? That's all.
can we not find out?
No, I don't want to find out.
Okay.
I'm good. I want to see this dang thing.
And if you're gonna find out, can you find out after June first of next year? Right, is that our election is in May?
What?
Our election.
I couldn't hear you.
election's like- I think, I said, if we're gonna find out after I'm gone. Okay, does anyone else have anything on the skate park?
Yeah, oh yeah, there's more,
You have more?
oh yeah.
Okay.
So, we're just getting started. So, maybe going,
Yeah,
okay,
flipping my paper over.
there we go, I'll write small. So, when we started this whole process, right? We obviously were gonna build this over between TCP and Kids Kingdom. And we went, we did, we saw, we had a design, general design, we didn't actually pay for a ton there, we dug test holes. We invested a lot in that site, and then we were told,
No.
move it.
Yeah.
So we moved it, and we went over to Marshall, thank you for that, by the way. I'm much happy where it's going. We've invested way more money in that, and the design that we built was according to your master Marshall plan. This is what's gonna happen, this is the timeline, this is when you can be slotted in, which is why we did the timeline on this right of entry agreement, because we literally had a very small window to get in, do our bit, get out. That clearly is not coming to fruition, I believe, anytime soon, and if I'm wrong, please tell me I'm wrong.
Nobody knows.
Exactly, but it's not happening in the foreseeable future. The design of our park and the actual geographic positioning of it was according to the new master plan. Not according to what's there. What's there, when we go in to build, is gonna be seriously impacted. And I have enormous concerns as whatever I am to this, the president of this thing, but the way it's going to look when it's done. You talk about, you know, how are you guys gonna be seen by the community if you have to rip it out? I'm looking at this, how am I gonna be seen? How are my kids gonna be seen? Right? As the people that built this garish thing that is now a third into the T-ball field, took out the access road.
Can you pause on that for a second?
Absolutely.
Can you, when was the last update of the, of your plan? Because I have an email dated from Greg in 2022 that does, it's up to the lines
No,
of
no,
that.
no, no, the last we did on this was back in 2025. Early 2025, late 2024.
Okay, so,
And it's good, we have to take out the T-ball field fence. We're gonna go into it, not just even to have a finished structure, but the construction. I mean, you guys have been involved with construction projects before, you don't just build inside that envelope, it spills over. So there's gonna be a lot of site restoration, so. Do we need to restore the T-ball field? So what I'm thinking